Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah, this is Aussie SFF, and today I am bringing you my wrap up of Tome Infinity and Beyond 2 readathon that was held in January. Now, Tome Infinity and Beyond readathon is hosted by Megan over at Tome Infinity and various other booktube entities. I will link them down below. So in January we were building our colonies, and to do so we had to fulfill certain challenges. This was especially challenging for me because I was on holidays on a boat on a cruise for most of January. So I had 2 books I took with me and the rest were on my Kindle. And some of them I have actual physical copies of, so I'm going to run through them today. I've got the list of what we did on my phone, so I'll be referring to that. Right, the first basic survival was the first level, and that we had to fulfill the criteria of water, sleep, fire, food, air and shelter. So for water, I read the second book in the June trilogy by Frank Herbert, and that is the Dune Messiah. I really enjoy these books, but I felt that I really enjoyed the first book when I read it, but the second book I really felt was sort of just a linking book and didn't really, it only pushed the storyline through just that little bit at the end, and I really don't feel like a lot of it was necessary, so it didn't rate highly for me. For fire and food, I read the host fave book, I can't remember which host, but Ender's Game. This was a reread for me. This was really interesting to reread because I read it first when I was in year 12 for English, and I loved it then, but rereading it as an adult was a bit, it didn't quite hold up to what I remembered because I've read so much sci-fi since then. I have since gone on and I'm currently reading Speaker for the Dead, the second book in the series, and I'm actually enjoying that much more because Ender's an adult in that, and it just, funnily enough, speaks to me a bit more. So I enjoyed it, but not as much as I did when I was in year 12. For air and shelter, I listened to an audiobook, The Last Girl on Earth. This was a young adult sci-fi that I managed to pick up on my library app. Considering some of the hype I've heard about it, it wasn't nearly as good as I thought it would be. It was a bit too simple. There wasn't enough sci-fi, way too much relationship business, and I felt the end was a bit lackluster, but that got me through my basic survival level. And for sleep, I miss sleep, I read Early Riser. This was the standout of my January reading month. It was fantastic. This was last year's book by Jasper Fforde. It is an alternative Earth where we are having global cooling, and because of that evolutionarily influence on humans, we actually hibernate, and the architecture and the culture around that has changed the way we work because we hibernate. So they have hibernation places, and people who go through winter are seen as A, brave, or B, silly, because there is a very high death rate throughout the winter months. Because of this, they have developed a drug that will actually help you hibernate. However, there is a very high failure rate and people wake up as walkers. These walkers are then redeployed to do simple tasks such as opening doors, but the company that makes this drug has been researching on how to change the tricksy walkers, ones that still remember how to do different things, into being able to do more complicated tasks. And our main character, Charlie Worthing, it's his first season with the Winter Council, and he gets basically stranded in a part of Wales over the winter, and starts realizing that this drug company maybe has some nefarious dealings within this walker system. So really, really good book. I really enjoyed it. Next level up was A Small Settlement, and this is where I finished. This was medicine, education, trading, procreation, oral communication, and travel. I got medicine, education, procreation, and oral communication done. My medicine and oral communication, I actually listened to Red Shirts. This was fantastic. This cracked me up. As a Star Trek fan, I had never really looked at that whole Red Shirt issue, and the idea behind this being that there are actually people and people's lives behind the people in the red shirts that get put down on these planets with the captain to basically be there as a boondoggle or a furphy to be killed in the storyline. And it was just a fantastic look at that idea. It covers medicine because they have like the special box. They put the thing in, they tell it how many hours or minutes the captain has said, you have this much time to get an answer. And lo and behold, every time the magic box spits out the exact medicine that they need. It was also oral communication because they talked. They had to talk. There was different ways they talked to each other. Mobile phones, when they went time traveling, and all sorts of things. My education and procreation was Dark Matter. And this I also listened to, and I found this to be an amazing look into the physics of multiple world theory. I put in procreation because the main character has a son, and in some worlds he doesn't have that son. I also put in education because he had to educate himself to a very high level in order to make the box. And unfortunately that's where I stopped for the month. So I have a basic settlement. I really enjoyed upping my sci-fi quota for the year, and I hope that Megan does another one sometime during this year. So thank you very much. If any of these are your favourite, please give me a heads up. If there's any other sci-fi that you think I might enjoy, please hit me up in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy reading. Bye.